For his neutral special, he wields a gun. His up special fires a gun. His side special invokes gun. Once his rebellion gauge is full, he'll unmask and summon a manifestation of his gun.
So, the official Bunkers and Badasses tabletop has been delayed again, and Tiny Tina got her own game that's safe to assume is based off of her DLC from Borderlands 2, with some extra inspiration from the tabletop itself. So, what better way to pass the time and hype myself up than to play through and make videos on every Borderlands game? Starting with, of course, the original from 2009. I picked it up on Steam a long time ago in a bundle with Borderlands 2. It could not run well for shit because of how awful my PC was at the time. I cannot comprehend how I managed to get to level 25 with Lilith while playing the game like a PowerPoint presentation. I ended up starting a new game because I had no idea where I was or what I was doing, and I wanted to experience the whole story without forgetting any of it. Though it wouldn't have made much difference, as Borderlands is pretty light on story with minimal voice acting, and most story beats were given to you through quest descriptions. The plot is the simplest of the Borderlands games to date. You start out on You start out on a bus where you choose your character, and then you make your way to Firestone, where you begin your adventure to discover the Vault, a mysterious alien source of supposedly endless riches. As you go on your adventure, you run into a number of characters that end up being mainstays over the course of the series, including Dr. Zed, Marcus, Tannis, and even the player characters themselves, Lilith the Siren, Roland the Soldier, Mordecai the Hunter, and Brick as himself. Compared to other games in the franchise, Borderlands 1 has the most loot to find, though not as many different guns. Though, that doesn't mean that there weren't a lot of them. And by God, there were a lot. It even earned the world record from Guinness for the most guns in a video game at 17.75 million. All because of how the loot generation worked, with applying various different descriptors and titles to different base guns over several different manufacturers, that each have their own shtick that evolved over the course of the franchise. Borderlands 1 was pretty simple with each manufacturer's specialty. Jacobs had high power with a Wild West theme, Dahl had high rate of fire and varying damage, Torg had high damage but low accuracy, Maliwan mostly had elemental weapons, Tedier weapons are mediocre overall but have high reload speeds, Vladoff are very similar to Dahl, but with a different sort of design to them. Atlas have high damage and fire rate without sacrificing other stats, but exceedingly rare. Hyperion's focus is guns that are almost 100% accurate, and they're also the manufacturers of the new U stations. Iridian weapons didn't use ammo and didn't appear in any other game until Borderlands 3. And lastly, there's S&S, who have the largest magazine size and never returned in any of the prior games. A feature that might make the first Borderlands a little difficult to come back to after mainly playing newer entries is that instead of having a mini-map on your screen, you're given a compass. But when Gearbox released the Enhanced Game of the Year edition, they gave an option to disable the compass while retaining a new mini-map. There are also a few other more minor features that didn't return in newer entries, like weapon proficiencies, not the D&D kind, revolver ammo and pistol ammo being separate, fast travel stations also acting as quick change stations, the inability to move during fight for your life, and relics being far more simplified. Playing through the game, it's somewhat clear by the relative lack of polish in some mechanics that it's the first entry, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It still has its own fun moments and plenty of references that become a staple of a franchise, including the optional bosses Skagzilla and Mothrak, and pretty early in the game, Angel asks you to do something by saying, "Would you kindly?" showing a little early on that she's not the guardian angel she claims to be. As you finally reach the vault, the main villain begins her monologue. It's revealed that the vault is used as a prison to keep a beast known as the Destroyer locked away, and the opening of the vault releases it, immediately killing Commandant Steele and beginning the final boss fight. I am a sucker for massive bosses like the Destroyer, especially when they're stationary and you need to stay on your toes in order to avoid being killed. I also found it pretty cool that you're able to see the Vault Hunter you're playing as in the cutscene leading up to the fight. And I'm very confused as to why Gearbox never did that sort of thing again. Overall, Borderlands is a really great game and kicked off the franchise in a really awesome way. Characters are great, the combat is great, and it's absolutely a game you shouldn't pass up. Whether or not you pick it up, thank you for watching this video and happy hunting.